Now we're going to talk about capos. Capo is the name of the Pink Panther's assistant in all the old Pink Panther movies. Capo! Capo! Oh. If you've seen the Pink Panther movies, you'll think that's funny. If you haven't, then you'll think, that Dave's a little nutty. Or a lot. Let's talk about the why behind a capo in the first place. So far, you've learned how to play an E chord. A, D, G, and C. You've also learned how to play some minor chords, E minor and A minor. With those chords, you can actually play now, very literally, hundreds of songs. They're not inaccessible to you. You can play along with those songs. The problem is, what happens if you and your buddy are getting together and your buddy has a pretty high voice? Yeah, I don't know, you're doing Wild Thing, that old song from the 60s, Wild Thing. And you guys are like, yeah, you know what, that's awesome. And there's a part where you have to use open strings like this, watch. Wild Thing, I think I love you. And he's like, that's just too low for my voice. Can we raise it somehow? The advantage to having a capo is that your hand doesn't have to learn any new chords, and we can still raise pitch. Watch. By putting the capo on the first fret, we're changing the pitch now of every string by what we call 1/2 step, or by a fret. My hand, as far as my hand knows, it doesn't have eyes, it has no visual acuity. It doesn't know that it's been moved up a fret. So it thinks it's playing an A chord, thinks it's playing a D chord, and it thinks it's playing an E chord. But in reality, it's not. It's playing an A chord plus 1, meaning really it's playing an A sharp major chord. So the singer now doesn't have to sing quite as low. But you didn't have to learn anything new. The fingering for those 3 chords is essentially the same as it was when we were open. I'm going to put my capo on, and you'll hear that everything has been moved up. All the pitches have been moved up by a fret each. That's still too low for my voice, David. Could you maybe raise the pitch some more? Well, singer person, I don't want to learn anything new, for I am new at the guitar, and I have mastered only a few chords at this point. But by using my capo, yes, I will raise it by just doing this. Oh, man, clamp, clamp, walk. Now watch. The reason we use a capo on its most basic level is just to simply raise the pitch of a song without having to learn anything new fingering-wise. Now, some people might say, wait a second, Dave, the frets are smaller. The further you go this way, the frets get smaller. So doesn't your hand sense the difference? Well, I guess technically that's true. But we're talking very, very small amount of distance that you move by fret to fret. When you start getting up here past the 7th, 8th fret, yeah, it actually becomes an issue as to trying to fit everybody in. Down these first 4 or 5 frets, a capo is used a lot to help us achieve a raised pitch without having to teach our hand anything new. So you get to use your old chords in new keys, which is cool. I'm going to show you an example. We were talking about the song Wild Thing. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. Hey, that's too low for my voice. All right, well, let's just put a capo on the first fret and try that. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. Oh, that's still too low. All right, well, let's do this. Wild thing, you make my... Oh, that's still too low. That's actually getting out of my range, but... Wild thing, you make my... And so the advantage is you get to play in new keys that you couldn't have played in before, using the same old fingering that you are really familiar with. Capos are awesome. One word about capos and the testosterone-fueled debate in whether to use a capo or not. Capos are fine. Sometimes you'll get the macho people who say, you know what? Capo is just for people who can't tough it out and play bar chords, dude. Oh. And then they flex it. There are some of the world's best guitarists that use capos regularly, and there's no shame in doing it. Use a capo. It helps you, especially at the beginning of your playing. It helps you be able to access chords and keys that you never could before without using it. So use a capo. Have fun with the capo, and we'll talk more about it as we go.